All right, we are on step 7 and we're working on the flaps for our front pocket. So in front of me, I have the flap front pocket, and we want the top to be the open side on the flap. So I have my rows facing the correct direction, and then I'm going to put the right sides together with my lining fabric. And then she has an optional where you clip the corners, and I think that looks really, really nice. So how I did that was, I don't know if you can see this. Okay. So I marked an inch away from each corner and made 2 marks, and that's where I'm going to cut. So this is how I did it. So I'm going to move this over so you can see. So my cutting mat has inch marks all over it. So I'm going to use those marks to make a mark at each inch off of each corner on 2 sides. And these will be the front, the bottom corners of the front of the flap. Okay, then I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm gonna just put my ruler and match up those marks right there and cut those corners. I'm going to do that on all 4 corners. So 2 corners on each flap. So it will look like that. And then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch seam along there, back stitching and leaving the top open. So I'll show you what that looks like when it's done. Let me show you these 2 corners. Again, we're going to sew just like that and leave this top open. All right, here are our flap pocket. Turned right side out and given a good iron. So I'm going to top stitch around the sides and the bottom, leaving the top open. All right, there are our 2 flaps, and then we're going to add our other piece of our turn lock into the center of those, and then we're going to put our pocket and our flaps on our main body piece. Okay, so these are our flaps, and we are going to mark our center. So these should be 6 inches, which they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we're going to mark in the center just above where the top stitching you did is. So I have my little mark there. And my mark here. So you can see that. I double check to make sure it's centered by folding this in half. And if my mark ends up right on the spine of my fold, I know that I have marked it correctly. And it's just a little way to double check yourself. See how it's the marks right on that little spine? Okay, so here is our other hardware. So there's two pieces. There's the backside piece and then the piece that you'll see in the front. So we're going to unscrew the screw and use the back piece as a template to mark where this hole should be. So we'll get to that next. All right, so I'm going to take my little screwdriver. All right, so here's the hardware for the rest of your turn locks. We have the top, and then this is what you're going to see along the back side. So we're going to use this one to mark our little template. So we're going to kind of center that and then take our pen and make a mark. Do the other one. Okay, and then you're going to cut out that piece through all layers, and then you're going to kind of cut out like a little triangle out of the end. And what that is going to allow is your screw to be screwed in without the fabric getting in the way. So I'll show you what it looks like on the other side. I use these really sharp pointed scissors to do detail work like that. So what I do is I kind of fold that in half and start it off. And then just kind of go in, and you want to be on the outside of where you marked that mark. This is the scariest part. So this is my first go at that little, and I probably will most definitely have to take a bit more away, but then you kind of check it. See how it's still too small. So we'll go back in and we'll take a bit more away. And this is a good place if you have fray check and you like to use it. You would just put a little fray check around those edges so they don't get too messy. And take your time. All right, so there's my hole. So that's almost good. So this has a bit of a lip on it. You can see. So if this fits in there and you can get it around those edges, that means that you've got it. All right, a little bit more. So it needs a little bit more off those ends. Those ends always need a little bit more. See how I can see that little screw hole over there? That one's looking pretty good. Yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so if you have a bit of Aleene's glue or tacky glue or E6000, you can put it on the bottom half of this side, and it just gives it a little bit more stability, and you know, makes it a little bit more durable. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on there, and I'm going to put my other end in and screw them on, and I'll show you what it looks like.